Hello, everyone. Jax West from Stephen Avery Project, Justice with Jax that you see behind me, and MAM Gossip. So we are live today because, well, originally, um, here goes acting all stupid again. Okay, so we're live today. This this live was scheduled in advance, that this was just going to be a general discussion on the case, and then we were also going to talk about um, our upcoming memorial and rally. I had talked with Christopher, and we had said maybe I would do a live on Stephen Avery Project once a week until our rally. And now this happens that we find out tomorrow the Court of Appeals is going to be giving their decision. I know people don't understand what's going on. I am not the person who pretends to be a lawyer and then just wants to second guess everything Kathleen does. I am not a lawyer, don't pretend to be basically a lawyer. And so I have complete faith in Kathleen Zellner that she is doing everything that needs to be done. Our system here in the States, no surprise to anybody here, sucks. And so it takes Kathleen, as she has said before, typically around 15 years to free somebody who's been wrongfully convicted. And she's only been on Stephen's case since 2016. So there's just stupid things that have to happen, that you have to go, thumbs up, Dana, that you have to go to this court and this and that. And um, it's things that have to be done, even though Kathleen will know that court's going to say no to it, but they have to be say no to it before it can go to this court, and so on and so forth. So what's coming down tomorrow? Don't know. And I'm somebody who I'm not going to speculate. I'm just not. I'm typically a negative person, doom and gloom, Eeyore, oh bother. But for Stephen, I'm just staying positive on it, that no matter what happens tomorrow, it's something that's going to be positive for Stephen. I do not think, I know there's people that talk about, will he be released tomorrow? I do not believe there's that Stephen would be released tomorrow. Even if something had happened and they said they thought he should be released, he doesn't get released just like that. I mean, even remember when Brendan's was overturned. He didn't get to be released. The state then files something else that kept him there. So and this isn't me being negative, I I I don't think there's any chance that Stephen's would be released tomorrow. Well, great. I would hope he would be. I think the best that I can hope for is that Kathleen's going to be able to get this into court and get him a new trial with all this evidence that she has found over the last several years. Uh, Evidence that his original attorneys overlooked, didn't try, the ineffective assistance of counsel, the witnesses that have come forward, So I'm hoping that this means Stephen will get back into court with all this evidence. When would court be? They drag everything out. So like if Stephen was to get a new trial, it could be months and months before it got into court. Because they'll say, okay, well, now both sides have to have time to build their cases or whatever. So I'm just staying positive that whatever the outcome is going to be tomorrow, it's going to be something on the positive for Stephen. What that's going to be, I don't know. So, and I know this isn't going to stop people from posting in both Stephen Avery Project and MAM Gossip asking, what is this tomorrow? We don't know. We're just gotta wait. And you think that you're nervous about it. Imagine being Stephen right now. Now, I posted the links on all the pages to Sup Cat that the Court of Appeals claims that they list the opinions by 8:30 a.m. Central Time. So when this live started, because I am also in Central Time, it's 1 p.m. So do your math. I'm not the math person. So I'm not going to try and figure out all the other time zones. I know it's something you can also Google, which I've done on things before, saying what time is 1 p.m. Central in such and such or whatever. So Google it. Google is your friend. Same thing when I have so many people asking, what does opinion mean? Since that's the way it's worded. Google it. I posted the screenshots from when I Googled a legal opinion. So we're going to be getting a decision tomorrow from the Court of Appeals. What they're deciding, we'll have to wait until at least 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. As soon as we're able to get our hands on it, we will get it posted and I will go live here on Stephen Avery Project if I am able. I have an appointment tomorrow at noon and it's about a half-hour drive for me to get there. So if it happens at 8:30 in the morning and we get it, I'll be able to go live right then. If you see it and it's not posted here, send it our way. Maybe you could come across it before we do. So share it with us. For people who are in our groups, because this here that I'm live on is the public page. You don't have to be a member to see posts or to post here on the public page, but on the closed groups, you have to be a member. And we also have those set up that if you have to submit a post and we have to approve it. We're only going to approve the first one that comes in that the decision has been made. If you get it before us and we haven't, because we're not going to have a million threads that are all going to be a screenshot or the link to the Court of Appeals page for where the decision is. So don't think that you've done something wrong or we don't like you. We're not going to have thousands of threads all pointing to the same thing. What we'll do tomorrow is what I've done with every filing. As soon as we get it, we post it for you all to be able to read for yourself. And then I go live and read it as well, because some people, are driving or at work or whatever and can't read it. So I read it. And then a lot of times too, after I've gone live here on Stephen Avery Project, I then go live again in our MAM Gossip closed group and do it all over again. I mean, yeah, we share this video there, but it's a way that for people to be live and ask questions as we go and that kind of thing. But again, it's up in the air on what for sure I'll be doing. It's all going to depend on what time stuff comes out. So if I'm able to do it before I have to go for my appointment, or if I have to do it when I get back. Um, Christine saying, how will this affect Brendan? It doesn't. Brendan and Stephen are two completely different cases, even though it's the same crime, alleged crime. Um, Brendan confessed, and there are people who will say that Brendan, in the lies that he told, he was protecting somebody else in the family and said Stephen instead of Bobby. Which I don't believe. Brendan is completely innocent. But whatever happens to Stephen doesn't happen for Brendan. When I am asked about this, I always refer people to another case of Kathleen Zellner's, the Ryan Ferguson case. There is a documentary about that called Dream Killer. And so there's Ryan Ferguson and Charlie Erickson. And Charlie Erickson confessed and said that Ryan Ferguson was his accomplice. And they both went to prison for it. Kathleen represented Ryan. Ryan had always stated he was innocent, and he had the greatest dad ever, Bill Ferguson. I worship Bill Ferguson, who fought so hard for his son. That's the way you think families would behave when they have a family member wrongfully convicted. But Kathleen was able to free Ryan Ferguson, and Charlie Erickson is still in prison. So it's tough when you confess, even though we all know Brendan was forced into that confession and he just clearly made stuff up. I mean, come on. So you would have to be able to prove who is the real killer and that Brendan wasn't involved. So it doesn't matter what happens with Stephen. It's not, if Stephen is able to be free, it's not a door opening for Brendan, which is really sad. The Paula is right though. All this new evidence that Kathleen has found, obviously it would go to its dream killer, not catcher, Shane, in case I did say catcher, because I mess up my words all the time. It's just it's so hard because we all know that Brendan is innocent, and this evidence all points to Bobby Dassey with an assist from Scott Toddock. So hopefully that would be something that could help Brendan, but it would still be a long road for him. But right now, my focus is on Stephen. It's this man has lost, oh, totally understand the autocorrect, Shane. That happens to me all the time, that I hit, right before the split second before I hit enter or send or whatever, I see it change it. And it's like, no. Stephen has been in prison basically since he was 22 years old. They let him out for 2 years until Teresa Halbach goes missing. And then he's taken again. And now he just recently lost his mother. And actually, he lost his mother months ago, since according to his brother Earl, that the family did not allow Stephen to talk to his mother for 8 to 9 months. And then they put her in hospice a couple weeks before she died. And nobody gives a heads up to Stephen and gives him the opportunity to say goodbye. So he's lost his mother multiple times. And he still sits in prison. So I'm just going to be staying positive. Tomorrow we're going to be getting some kind of a positive decision. Hopefully we're getting back into court. We'll have judges, jury, who actually are going to listen and care about justice. Hold on. What was I just asked by Andrea? If this goes in a positive direction, I just booted again, tomorrow and going forward for Stephen, Barb is going to be irate, won't she? I go back and forward on Barb. I do feel that Barb loves her brother Stephen. I mean, those years before Making a Murderer came out, when Stephen was in prison, only Alan, Dolores, and Barb were visiting him. The rest of the family abandoned him. So I do feel that Barb loves Stephen. And I want to believe that Barb believes in Stephen's innocence and would want him freed. Obviously, the thing that will then upset her is she doesn't want people to close in on her son and possibly her current husband, which, me just doing straight talk, because that's how I roll here, which is understandable. It is understandable that a mother doesn't want any of her sons held liable for any crime, let alone a possible rape and murder. So I think she would be upset upon Stephen's release because of how things will change for the family. When Stephen is in prison, he is locked down and muffled. And the family has been able to run Stephen's case on social media. Stephen doesn't get a voice. They claim to speak for him. Once Stephen is freed, The family will be the ones that are muzzled and shut down. And Stephen has said the entire time, he's just going where the evidence takes him, family or not family. And that's what Kathleen Zellner does. Don't confuse what Stephen or Kathleen Zellner is doing with what Manitowoc does, the sheriff's department. That you come up with a narrative and then you're going to make the facts try and fit your story. Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department wanted Stephen to go bye-bye for 36 million reasons. So let's make the facts fit that. That's not what Stephen is doing. That's not what Kathleen Zellner is doing. You just follow the evidence. Stephen, over the years that I have talked to him, he would say bad things about family members, but then also, bottom line, they're still his family. So he wasn't cutting those people off because they're his family and they're doing horrible things. So Stephen's not going to just go, let's point the fingers at my family. It's what the evidence is pointing to. So that's what anybody should do, correct? Follow the facts, follow the science, follow the evidence. Kathleen Zellner only takes cases when she knows somebody is innocent. So Stephen tried to get Kathleen to take his case for years. And just going off of what was out there available, which is coming from the narrative from Manitowoc Sheriff's Department and Kratz and his sick mind, looks like Stephen's guilty, right? He was convicted on that. But then Making a Murderer came out. And you were able to see more of the story. Not just what a judge or the state will let you see. That's why I'm also not big on when people say, oh, well, he was convicted of a jury of his peers. First of all, the whole peer thing is bull smurf. It's never people who are just like you that are on your jury. I served on a jury before. And then there's all that arguing before it even goes to trial. And then during the trial, sidebar, take the jury out, whatever. We're not going to show them this. We're not going to show them that. So a jury doesn't have all the information. We do. Making a Murderer is not a one-sided documentary. Making a Murderer went to all of those people on all sides to be a part of it. They chose not to. So the documentarians did all they could by showing their press conferences where they were saying their side. Does Making a Murderer have everything in it? Of course not. But when you do your homework and you go to like StephenAveryCase.org, where you can find so many of the documents and interrogations and videos and logs and pictures, everything, all the different filings, all of that. Keep going down that rabbit hole, and everything you find will show that Stephen is innocent. People have different theories. Get it. Understand people who think When I first saw it, I'm thinking Ryan Hilgas. Then I was thinking George Zipperer. But as Kathleen Zellner is on the case and then releases what she's uncovered, everything's pointing at Bobby Dassey. So that's where I'm at, is it is Bobby Dassey. There are so many people who have done investigating, and all these eyes that have been looking at this case since Making a Murderer came out in 2015. Lots of really good research. There's just so much that points to Bobby Dassey. But the bottom line is, Stephen was not given a fair trial. And there is so much reasonable doubt. And there was another case of a wrongfully convicted that I was advocating for, Marnie Yang. And when I attended, I don't remember if it was one of her hearings or a press conference, her lawyer, Jed Stone, who is another great lawyer at getting out the wrongfully convicted, and he is out of Lake County, Illinois, which is the wrongful conviction capital of the world. Um, so something that Jed said, and I don't know if it comes from Jed or it's just something that's been out there. So whatever, but it just really resonated with me that Jed said it's not his job as a defense attorney to prove their innocence. It's the state's job to prove their guilt. He shows that there's reasonable doubt. So Kathleen Zellner does not have to have Bobby Dassey with the candlestick in the library. But there's been so much that has happened in Stephen's case that should warrant him a new trial. And the things that Kathleen has put out that we know about, I'm sure is just the tip of the iceberg. She can't show all her cards. She knows other things because the way our system works is you have to present this evidence and try and run with it. And then when the court shuts that down, you have to start all over again, but you have to have new evidence. So I am sure she has things we don't know about. I have complete faith in what Kathleen Zellner is doing for Stephen. I am not going to second guess what she does. It is not her fault that this takes so long. And I know there's people that'll say, "Oh, she's not doing anything." There's times there's nothing to do. It's a waiting game. And I get how frustrating that is. But that's the way our system works. It is a slippery slope. I think somebody posted about this in MAM Gossip recently. It might have been here on Stephen Avery Project. Is that when you look at all the people from Manitowoc and Calumet counties that are part of this, and if it is able to be proven that people planted evidence, it now puts every other case they've been a part of in jeopardy. and guilty people could walk. But these are what is it, the fruits of the poison tree. And I'm sorry, Stephen and Brendan should not be scapegoats to protect the other people they've prosecuted. So we're just stuck waiting until tomorrow morning. We will see what the court says. I know there's a lot of people who are not getting their hopes up because you just go, it's Wisconsin. They're never going to let them go. 36 million reasons. And what would that be now? Because it was 36 million for the first 18 years. What do you do now? I'm just trying to keep positive mindset that something good's going to happen while also being realistic. And even if whatever happens tomorrow doesn't go Stephen's way, as Kathleen Zellner tweeted today, it doesn't mean it's over. It's just another step in this process. And Kathleen's always 3 steps ahead. So I'm sure she's ready for whatever is going to happen tomorrow and is already prepared for what she does then. We just need to continue to support Stephen. Send him your cards and letters of support. Linda asking, what time is it right now? It is 1:30 p.m. here in Central Time. And it's 8:30 a.m. Central Time tomorrow when they say their decisions go live. Doesn't mean it will right at 8:30, but that's what it stated. And I also have a post that I made in both here in Stephen Avery Project as well as MAM Gossip, where there is the link to the circuit, the court of, I keep saying Circuit Court of Appeals, the Court of Appeals, where you'd be able to click on that link and go look up the decision for yourself. So find it on the page. It's posted and you can go to it and search it yourself. I know there's people, since I posted the link, they're like, Stephen's not listed there because it's the decision isn't in yet. I posted that link so tomorrow, so bookmark it, whatever. So tomorrow you can go on it and go look for yourself. But we also here on Stephen Avery Project, we will post it for you with the link. And then I'll also do a live and read it with you all. So as soon as humanly possible, I know we're all going to be refresh, and looking everywhere. But as soon as it's out, we'll go live here on Stephen Avery Project and let you know what is going on. So, but what are they deciding? All that. I'm not speculating. I'm just going to wait until and see what comes out. Sorry, I'm getting all this stuff. Another thing that we were going to be discussing today is the memorial and the rally we have for August 20th, which is Dolores's birthday, and then the next day, the 21st. These are both going to be in Waupun. We're at Waupun Correctional, where Stephen is. We have Facebook events here. Information is posted there. We've also got posts that give our itinerary that we have planned so far for those events. Um, we have a hotel that has blocked out rooms for us, but it's one price right now in July, and they're going to be jacking up the price soon. So if you want to stay at the hotel that we are staying at, where we'll be doing some activities at that hotel, and obviously you have to be a guest at that hotel to be able to be part of it. So all that information is there. I'm asking if you have booked a hotel room that you email me at official Stephen Avery project at gmail.com. I would like to, because I would like to know who to expect that's going to be there. And we're also putting together some swag for people. Christopher, one of the moderators, and I have been putting together some things. So I am printing up stickers that say free Stephen Avery that are able to go on people's cars. So if you come to the rally, you'll be able to get one of those stickers. And it's what you see for listed for the event for today's live. It's very simple, just says free Stephen Avery. So people will at the rally will be able to get one of those stickers. I'm also having made fans because I'm always warm. Um, so on one side of the fan, it's just going to say the free Stephen Avery that's on the sticker, and then the other side will be Stephen Avery Project. Those will be given to people at the rally. We're not charging for anything. These are free that we are just giving to you. And then Christopher has his own soap company. He makes different soaps. And so he is going to do a purple lilac soap that will be in tribute to Dolores. Her favorite color is purple. And so people who are staying at the hotel is going to be getting a Dolores Purple Lilac soap from Christopher. If you have any questions or ideas for our candlelight memorial that is on the Friday night or the rally that is on Saturday, you can message us at Stephen Avery Project or send me the email at official Stephen Avery Project at gmail.com. We will live stream both the candlelight memorial and the rally, as well as we'll be doing a happy hour live after the rally on Saturday. So those of you from all around the world that aren't able to join us in person, you'll still be able to see what's going on and be a part of it. And yes, snooze, please everyone on Dolores's birthday, light a candle for Dolores. And we'll have threads too where you can post pictures of your candles, or if you've made a shirt or a sign or anything like that for either the memorial for Dolores or the rally for Stephen. Stephen really wanted, okay, I'll get to that in a minute, Jer. Is it Jer? Is that how I pronounce that? Um, um, Christopher will be posting there'll be threads that'll be on Stephen Avery Project where we want you to post your pictures and wishes. And we're also thinking of doing on the Saturday night a trivia contest where we'll have an online winner and an in-person winner. And Christopher will run the online and I'll run the in-person. And I've got these autographed books that have been sitting here. I've got Wrecking Crew that is autographed by John Farrick, And then I've got Illusion of Justice that's autographed by Jerry Buting. So maybe on these trivia contests that we'll do during the happy hour, those could be the prizes. But so stay tuned. Thank you, Jer. Jer is asking, okay, so I have the visitors list for both Stephen and Brendan. Which drawer is it in? Pardon me as I look down here. Is it in this one or this one? Oh, this is the exhibits. What is this one? This one is Brendan's visitors list. And so it's from 2010 to 2020 when COVID stopped visitations. And you're asking, let me try and scroll back. How many times did Dolores visit Stephen? Dolores has visited Stephen 62 times in 10 years. In the 10 from 2010 to 2020. Dolores visited 62 times, Alan 44, Barb 4, Carla Chase, Stephen's niece and self-appointed family spokesperson who has said and done horrible things to Stephen. She has visited 15 times in 10 years. His brother Earl has visited 19 times. So 62 times is how many times Dolores visited in the 10 years. So remember that it was getting harder and harder for Dolores to go. She couldn't drive herself and she couldn't walk well. So she now relied on others to take her there. So, yeah. In those 10 years, when you look at visitors, Brendan's visitors list, Barb visited Brendan 433 times in the 10 years. So Barb visited 433 times and Scott Taddock visited 119 times in 10 years. And what I did is everybody got color coded on all these. And then I would write a tally on the bottom of each page in those colors of how many times the person visited at that time, and then added them all up. So, and it goes from August 13, 2010 until January 30th, 2020. So this is Brendan's. And Stephen's is in there somewhere too, but I've got so many different files here. So much stuff that I've accumulated since 2015. No, not 1,000. Not even close, not even half of 1,000. Kratz deserves to be in prison. And this is something that we need to change in our judicial system. There really needs to be consequences for law enforcement, lawyers, judges, whomever, is part of framing innocent people, coercing false confessions, all of that. And until there's any kind of punishment for a district attorney, assistant district attorney, who does this press conference claiming that Brendan said all these sick things, which I truly believe is just his fantasies, since we know he is the prize and forcing women to have sex with him because he's a part of either their case or their partner's case. Um, so I think those are just his sick fantasies, where he does this press conference saying all this stuff that Brendan didn't say and then is never used. Our system is so broken, and it's hard to know where to start to fix it. Luckily, here in Illinois, can I get some stickers over to the UK? I'll think on that, John. Um, Here in Illinois, our governor just signed. It is no, well, it doesn't go into effect until January 1st, but cops can't lie to minors, which is great, but it really needs to be for everyone. Cops shouldn't be able to lie to anyone and go, your blood is all over the place, when there's like no blood at all. So, but I'm happy in Illinois that our legislators are starting to do some really great things in criminal justice reform. And the bill was actually signed at the Northwestern Pritzker School of Law, that the Center for Wrongful Convictions, that Brendan's lawyers are out of, Stephen Drizzen and Laura Nyrider are from, and Laura Nyrider was a part of the event when they talked about the bill, and then our governor signed it. So there's only 2 states that have it. Just like people think that you can't question a minor without parents' knowledge or consent. It's legal. You can do that. You can yank a kid out of school without telling their parents and question them. It's legal. That's insane. So there's so much work to be done. We have to protect our children, but we have to protect everybody. Why can cops lie? Oh, Jer, Kratz's daughter's sister wife, um, she hates me. Here's the story on why she hates me. Um, so I went to Brendan's hearing at the Seventh Circuit. Seventh Circuit is in Chicago. So now, high rise building, you have to go up the floor, whatever. Once you got up to that floor, seating is first come, first serve at court. So you're trying to get there at a decent time so you'll be able to get in. And so I was in line to get in. So it's a hallway. Whole bunch of people are in line. Kratz and his daughter's sister wife were like 3 or 4 people ahead of me in line, which I thought was funny because he thinks he's so important and everything, and he had to wait in the same line the rest of us did to get in there. Um, and so I snuck a picture of him in line in front of me. Um, and then when we're in the courtroom, they were just creepy. because she's the age of his kid, and she's like rubbing on him and all this stuff. They weren't married at that time. They were only dating then. And he was so sweaty, and so this guy who is obsessed with sweat, everything he talks about, sweat. And he was so sweaty and gross. And he was sitting on the other side of the courtroom. He was trying to get as close to the Halbach family as he could. Actually, you could tell that's what he was trying to do. And he was sitting with a lot of the Wisconsin journalists that you see in Making a Murderer had come to that. So he was like sitting with them over there. And also afterwards, when you get back downstairs and it's got the big, um what do you call it, vestibule or whatever, before you walk through the metal detectors to go anywhere. That's where press had set up their bank of microphones to talk to people about the case. And Kratz just walked up to him and started talking. And one of my favorite things is when they ask who he is. Who are you? You're don't you know who I am? So I then wrote an article about the experience. Um, I'll have to post it again, and I'm sure you can find it in here in the files or whatever, that I've posted. It's been posted here a couple of times. Um, so I posted a lot of what I just said, and oh God, daughter, sister, wife was so upset by it. And so then she was bashing me on Twitter for a while, and she's like, he's got a medical condition that makes him sweat or some crap. I don't know. And then she tried to, at some point, say that I was breaking the law because you're not allowed to take pictures. And it's like, no, 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 no. It's that you can't take any pictures in the courtroom. We're out in a hallway. And yeah, there was a sign saying no pictures in the courtroom. I didn't take any pictures in the courtroom. We were in the hallway. So, yeah, so that she was so upset because the thing that I always call him is sweaty sweat sweat. Um, and that bothered her so much that I called him that. So, of course, I got to double down. And it's always sweaty, sweat, sweat. I don't know what's happened to those, the gruesome twosome. I don't really do Twitter. I did just start a new Twitter today, actually, for Stephen Avery Project. We have one that was started a while ago that we don't really ever do anything with, but it's titled like Bravery SAP. Because bravery is something that Curtis Bussey, who started Stephen Avery Project, had come up with. Because bravery, and it is clever, bravery is a combination of Brendan and Avery. Bravery. So the Twitter we have is like, um, Bravery SAP for Stephen Avery Project. And Curtis, who started this page, is the one that also came up with calling it Stephen Avery Project, which makes its initial SAP, which I know the Guilters love and make fun of. Um, but so today I made one called, um, what is it called? Stephen Avery MAM. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Um, I don't like Twitter, but trying to. I know there's people. It's like Apple and Android, right? There's people who like Twitter and people who like Facebook. So I really only use Twitter because that's where Kathleen Zellner makes her tweets that we can share over here. And for those of you who don't do Twitter, we do share Kathleen Zellner's tweets here. So don't worry that you're missing something. We will share it. Um, oh, why do you have to stoop to Kratz level? because I am immature and a child. I am. But I typically here on Stephen Avery Project, I usually don't get into all that kind of stuff. That's what our group MAM Gossip's for. MAM Gossip is where we really get into the nitty gritty of the case. So that's where you'll see my childish behavior. Um, More is in MAM Gossip and the lives in there. On Stephen Avery Project, I always try to keep it on the level, just on the case. I don't go into, for the most part, all the family drama that surrounds this case. That is an important part of it when you're seeing that it's probably a different family member who committed this crime and people that are helping cover that up. Um, so in essence, they're keeping Stephen and Brendan in prison. They're okay, so it's their family. And they're okay with keeping Stephen and Brendan in prison as long as they're able to protect Bobby and Scott. Yet they're going to prey on the supporters for send us money and do this and do that. Um, yeah, Lori, let's not talk about him anymore. So most of the time here on Stephen Avery Project, we keep it just straight. It's like the jury version. You're not getting all the facts here. Those are all in MAM Gossip. Because a lot of the people that come to Stephen Avery Project, it's all they know is making a murderer. And don't you, and we get people every day who post or message us saying they just watched it for the first time. People are still discovering this case. So, somebody posted, was it Christopher? Oh, Natalie did. Stephen Avery, MAM. Thank you, Natalie. That's what it's called. Um, I made it and didn't remember for sure what I called it. Um, so, but we will bring you here everything that comes out that can be public, that's not drama. But on the flip side, we'll have people that then join our MAM Gossip group. And then when they read the stuff that Stephen's family is doing, and they're like, why do we have to get into all of that? Can't blah, blah. Well, the group is called MAM Gossip. I mean, it should be called MAM Facts. I could change the name to MAM Facts. But it's titled Gossip. It's where people can talk about whatever their theories are, as long as it's not Stephen and Brendan are guilty. We are not entertaining that on any of the pages that we run. Stephen and Brendan are innocent. But this is called Stephen Avery Project. So our main focus is Stephen. We do care about Brendan. And we will share with you any news that develops on Stephen's case. Or Brendan's case. Sorry. But we primarily focus on Stephen. Stephen wanted a page that is just about him. Stephen and Brendan are two different people. So I see